Want to hear a married couple fight over who's the greatest of all time, Jordan or LeBron?
Absolutely, and it's Jordan.
It's definitely not, but listen to our podcast, The Greatest, to hear who really is.
Listen to The Greatest on the iHeartRadio app or wherever you get your podcasts.
Time to call your lawyer.
First, though, we need to take on today's question on the Ask the Lawyer segment. Here's the dilemma that we were up against. Not knowing for sure whether we'd be able to take phone calls with this work-from-home situation that I'm in. We didn't know what to do other than postpone our conversation with Bruce L. Scheiner, attorney for the injured. But somebody who submitted a question and has been waiting to hear the answer on the radio would get left out that way, so that kind of wasn't fair. And since we are trying to maintain the old normal as much as possible, here's what we decided to do. Yesterday, when I was sure nobody else was in the studios, I went in alone, sanitized the living heck out of the place. Not that anybody's sick in our studios, but you know you can't be too careful. And called Bruce and said, let's get this recorded this afternoon for playback tomorrow morning. And he thought that was a great idea. That way we can still get a question answered. Now, before we get started, let me remind you what you're about to hear is just general legal conversation. It's not to be taken as specific advice in your specific circumstances. You've got to sit down face-to-face with a legal professional in order to get that kind of information and advice. Now, Bruce L. Scheiner and Associates do offer free initial consultations. So if you've got a legal situation that needs some immediate help, get a pencil and a piece of paper handy. I will give you a phone number in a moment so you can reach out to the Port Charlotte office and get that set up. In the meantime, some great advice that he likes to pass along, regardless of your circumstances, in any legal situation. Don't make any statements, don't let anyone record any conversations, and don't sign anything until you've spoken to a legal professional. So keep that in mind as we go back to yesterday and the conversation that I had with Bruce L. Scheiner, attorney for the injured. There are a couple of recurring themes in our weekly conversations. And unfortunately, they're not good themes. And one of them is sexual abuse. We have another question like that today. But I know I can count on you to give a not just knowledgeable, but a compassionate answer.
Well, I'm ready to listen and hope I could help.
I'm sure you will. Here's what we've been told. I was severely sexually abused starting in the 6th grade while I attended a religious school. Today, after a lot of counseling, I have decided to come forth to expose this horrific treatment at the hands of my teachers and clergy. I was wondering if I can still file a lawsuit even though this sexual abuse goes all the way back to 2001. I've been told by a friend that I probably can't because it was so long ago. Can a lawyer help me? What do you make of that?
Well, it's very interesting, and the law was changed several years ago so that there is absolutely something that we could do to help.
Okay.
We could sue these men for the childhood sexual abuse.
Mm-hmm.
This matter is not time-barred, meaning that they eliminated the statute of limitations for child sexual abuse.
I see.
So that normally, if something happened back 20 years ago, there's nothing that you could do.
Right.
But because of the change of the statute, which was July of 2010, you're not prevented from going back years and years for child sexual abuse.
I see. What she does say here is that after a lot of counseling, I've decided to come forth. And that indicates to me already a lot of medical bills have been racked up and there are probably a lot more to come. So she really needs to speak to a professional to make sure she's compensated fairly.
Absolutely, and I think that her medical bills are a very small portion of her damages because that type of abuse has traumatic effect psychologically, and the person would be entitled to a very substantial amount of restitution.
It'll take a professional to come up with that information, so she needs to see somebody quickly. And as always, Bruce, thank you for your compassionate answer to a very difficult question. We hear way too much of this. I think you agree.
Yeah, we do, and for some reason, maybe people are feel more free, but just hear more and more of these type of cases lately.
Right. And I think that is the reason we've become more accepting as a society. Don't have to keep it hidden away. And that's probably for the ultimate good. Thank you again for the good that you do each Wednesday morning. I look forward to talking to you next week.
I do too, Todd.
And I think that's worthy of a round of applause, even though Bruce and I had that recorded yesterday to share with you today at Kicks Country 92.9. But again, we didn't want somebody, especially with a question like that, knowing that somebody was waiting on an answer to that sensitive of a question, to wait any longer. So thank you for your indulgence. Getting the job done. We all are. And here, too, at Kicks Country 92.9. Now, remember, if you've got a legal situation and it requires immediate help, don't waste any time. Call the Port Charlotte office of Bruce L. Scheiner and Associates at 941-743-7777. 941-743-7777. And tell them that Todd Matthews sent you from Kicks Country 92.9.